In India, we have two types of educational model by which a person can become a lawyer. One, you complete your graduation and then finish 3 years course of law and you can become a lawyer. Or you can finish your 10 plus 2 and after that if you complete 5 years education on law, then you can become a lawyer. After becoming a lawyer, if you are finishing the bar council test, then you will be upgraded to an advocate. Now, after becoming an advocate, do you think are there any types of advocate? Now, immediately you might be start thinking on the civil case, the criminal case, or the family case, all those stuff. You might be thinking that they are civil advocates or criminal advocates, all those stuff. No, I'm not asking that. Do you have any types of advocate in India? That is my question. Let's try get the answer in the presentation. On the other hand, have you ever heard the concept of advocate on record? Now my question is, after you becoming an advocate, can you go and practice in Supreme Court of India? Now that is looks like an easy question, but it's not as easy as we think. Now all the answers are available in my presentation. Here we are going to understand the different types of advocates, what is advocate on record, who can practice in the Supreme Court of India. I think I have wasted a lot of your time. Not wasting any further, let's get into the first slide. I am going to give two important references in this slide and next slide as far as types of advocates are concerned. Here in this slide, I am going to discuss the types of advocates under the Advocates Act 1961, and as per section 16 of this particular act, there are two types of advocates. They are the advocates and the senior advocates. Now, who is an advocate? I have already answered, the one who has finished 3-year law education or the one who has completed 5 years of law education. After they becoming law graduate or they becoming lawyer, if they are passing the test by the bar council, then they will become advocate. Now that is the first type of an advocate. If among them anybody is having lot of knowledge or experience in law, or because of the virtue of their standing in the bar, and if they are giving consent, if the High Court or Supreme Court feels that they can be designated as senior advocates, then on the consent of such advocates, they become the senior advocates. Now, both advocates and senior advocates register will be maintained under section 17. This is called as advocates rule, where all the details of advocates as well as senior advocates will be maintained, and that is the information you need to have as far as the types of advocates under Advocates Act 1961, and I have given sufficient provisions here. You can go through for additional knowledge. The second reference that I am bringing is the Supreme Court rules of practice and procedures. This is one of the most interesting and important aspect that every Indian advocate need to know. Now, as for the practice and procedures of the Supreme Court rules, there are three types of advocates. They are advocates, senior advocates, and advocates on record. The first two types we have already discussed under the Advocates Act 1961. I have discussed in detail. The only aspect that I missed there is they need to be the member of any of the State Bar Council of India. That is one important aspect I missed. Once after they becoming the member of the State Bar Council, they will be maintaining an advocates on roll as per section 17 of Advocates Act 1961, where all the details pertaining to such advocates or senior advocates will be maintained. The details are like the name, the date of birth of the advocates or senior advocate, their permanent address, what are their education qualification, and where exactly they want to practice. All of those informations will be maintained in the advocates on roll. That is why they are also called as advocates on roll. Now the third one is advocates on record. Who is advocate on record? Or how to become an advocate on record? Before answering all of that, first let us try understand why it is important to become an advocate on record. Guys, these are the advocates who can file an appearance in Supreme Court, and these are the only advocates who can file an appearance in Supreme Court. That means no advocate or senior advocate can file an appearance by themselves in Supreme Court, but only the advocates on record can file an appearance in Supreme Court. The others can do, but they cannot do independently. That I am going to explain later. But remember, only the advocates on record can plead, can conduct, and can prosecute all proceedings in Supreme Court, and they are also authorized to deposit as well as accept money on behalf of the parties in the case which are connected to Supreme Court. Hope that gives lot of perception. And if any advocate want to practice in Supreme Court, only on the instruction of the advocate on record they can do that. Likewise, if any senior advocate want to appear in Supreme Court, in that case they can do it only when they are representing along with an advocate on record. Both advocates as well as senior advocates cannot independently file an appearance or plead or conduct or prosecute in any proceedings of the Supreme Court. Hope that makes it very clear. Now, how to become an advocate on record is in my next slide. The next important question is how to become an advocate on record. It's very easy. You need to satisfy three important essentials. The first one, you need to have 4 years work experience as an advocate. The second one, you need to work with an advocate on record who has 10 years of experience, and you need to work with him or her for 1 year. That makes total of 5 years experience. And after completing both such requirements, you have to take an exam with Supreme Court. Now, what is this exam? This exam has 4 important subjects. The first one is Supreme Court Rules of Practice and Procedures. The second subject is Drafting and Pleading. The third subject is Accountancy for the Lawyers. And the last one is Leading Cases. Now, you have to pass all the 4 subjects. When I say pass, you might be thinking of 35 marks. No, the pass mark here is 50 out of 100. And your total to pass in this exam should cross 240 out of 400. That means you need to score 50% in each subject and the aggregate score should be 60%. Now the total should be 240 out of 400 to pass this exam, and only when you complete all these 3 requirements you will become an advocate on record. Once after you becoming an advocate on record, you can give instruction to any advocate to practice in Supreme Court of India, or you can go along with any senior advocate for them to practice in Supreme Court of India. That is the importance that you are going to get. But at the same time, there are a lot of complaints against the advocates on record who are giving instruction to the advocates but not properly seeing the documents and other stuff. That is one important quality improvement that we need to do. Otherwise, this is one of the beautiful concept. This is what lot of advocates dream to do. With that, I am concluding this presentation. If you are not aware of advocates on record concept, and after watching my video, if you are dreaming of becoming one among them, my best wishes to you guys. And remember, it is not impossible. After having such 5 years of experience, you can definitely pass through those exams, and my best wishes with you on that. With that, I am concluding my presentation. Thank you so much for subscribing my channel. Please like, share and comment my videos. All the very best for whatsoever purpose you are referring my channel, and thanks again.